Okay, so welcome to lesson 2, which is basically about sustainability and the environment. Really important topic in design nowadays, and also will link really nicely to your coursework. You will remember a little bit on social, moral, and economic impact for your lamps project, and is quite transferable for this. So for this, I will go through this PowerPoint quite fast, but feel free to stop the video at any points just to make notes and to fill out the worksheet. There's a bit of a mix. There's kind of two parts to it. There's sustainability and the environment, and there's a bit on informing design decisions and design for repair, disposability, and things like that. So just cracking on quickly. A few of you might do geography as well. There's quite a huge push, as you will be aware, towards sustainable design and the impact on the environment from products, materials. Plastics in particular has been quite big in the news. So we need to talk about energy sources, how we get energy, how we get materials from that source of energy in terms of two different categories. We've got a finite resource, which is basically a non-renewable resource, so something that's in limited supply. So that might be your oil, coal, that kind of thing. And then we've got non-finite energy resources, which is basically the renewable resources like wind, solar, tidal, biomass, etc., etc. 84% of our energy at the moment comes from non-renewable sources, and that's because of the fact that technology is not quite there yet. People have objections to it on a moral ground and things like that. So there's a big push towards renewable energy. There's a few big kind of benefits of using non-finite energy resources. We won't kind of run out of resources. We're looking to different avenues basically. It's less kind of detrimental to the environment than extracting finite resources. And also the renewable energy generates electricity which can be kind of cleanly consumed. Fossil fuels can cause pollution which damages wildlife, ecosystems, melting the ice caps and all of those kind of things. A lot of information on that is in your textbook as well, and it's quite a good background knowledge to know. You'll need to know it for one of the other units as well. So you can pause the video now and have a go at question 1. We all have kind of a responsibility to think about being as renewable and environmentally friendly in our design as possible. And there's lots of different ways that you can do this. And products will be analysed in terms of a life cycle assessment, which is a very useful way of testing, or analysing really, and checking how sustainable a product is from the source material all the way to after its use, so whether it's going to end up in landfill, can be recycled, and things like that. So feel free to just have a flick through these slides at your own pace. You can always pause this video as it goes. Big thing about plastics, obviously in terms of the oceans, you will have seen on the news. But talking about the ecological and social footprint, we're talking about a life cycle assessment. So this is these 5 stages here, which will be relevant for your worksheet question. Talking about obtaining raw materials, manufacturing, processing, shipping, transportation, distribution, battery or fuel power consumption, wear and tear, so during its use really, and then its end of life. And pollution, global warming, and the impact on the environment are all aspects that designers need to be thinking about when they are going through initial concepts all the way through development to an actual prototype. Helping the environment, we can talk about hydrogen fuel and other aspects. We can talk about more digital, less paper being used, less deforestation. And there's a lot of overlap with the other unit for this. So what I would do is, for the next question on the worksheet, we're talking about a life cycle assessment, so those 5 stages. You can pause this video now and I'd answer question 2, but use this video on this slide to help you. It helps talk about the processes of a plastic bag. Okay, now that you've done those first 2 questions, there are some extensions on your worksheet that you can come back to at the end, but now we just move on to informing design decisions. And this is very much a topic thinking about advantages and disadvantages of different design techniques within products, how they can be designed to be repaired and recycled, and just thinking about ethical and moral arguments in a little bit more detail. So we evaluate the use of technologies when they come into the forefront amongst kind of 5 different ways. So we've got cost, reliability, longevity, sustainability, and recyclability. Now these can be split up as well. So recyclability you can split up into the 6 R's. Sustainability, you can be thinking about things like a life cycle assessment, and same for the other 3 here as well. When a designer is thinking about sourcing materials and parts for a product and a design, they might think about using recycled material, which is great in the one aspect, but it still needs to live up to certain standards for that product. So will it be a part that is undamaged? Is it tested to certain standards? Is it quality that we are looking for? Is it reliable, a plentiful source? People might claim that they're from a renewable source, but where's the certification of that? Is it legally sourced, or has it been logged? So things like timber might be from FSC timber, where it is certified. They could be aspects and considerations when sourcing used parts. Then we move on to something which is basically planned obsolescence. So you might find that your phone or certain products kind of break or start to become a little bit more faulty after a few years. Some companies have come into issues with court and being sued because they deliberately put a lifespan on their product so that you buy the new one and then you keep engaging with their brand. So phone companies have had issues like this before, such as Apple and Samsung. Some products are obviously going to be designed for less of a lifespan, and that just depends on what the intended use of that product is as well. They will basically appropriately manufacture the product in order to last for a certain lifespan that is designed and wanted by a client in the first position. When a manufacturer is designing and making a product from recycled parts, it is quite good as an image for their company. It shows that you meet kind of moral and ethical grounds. You can advertise it as the fact that you're helping to conserve resources. It's less harmful towards the environment, and it's designed in a certain way often so it can use recycled components. This links to the 6 R's as well, which you'll learn a little bit more about in Unit 4. But when things are designed, it's not just so maybe it's out of recycled materials, but it could well be talking about, is it easy to repair? So something like an IKEA piece of furniture, they'll come with instructions, they'll come with pretty standard fittings, so that it's easier for non-specialists to understand it and to repair it if necessary. And this could be IKEA, it could be a variety of different products. With more complicated products, there's going to be an issue where specialist tools are going to be required. People that are more trained in that area could be an aspect as well. So there's another case study here that you can have a little look at on the PowerPoint. And then it just links to the fact that with regards to recycling, thinking about 6 R's and a life cycle assessment of their own product, there's always these ethical and moral arguments. You'll hear social, moral, and economic impact a lot throughout your coursework. It's really, really important that we as designers think about our impact on the environment. Recycling could be one aspect, and then we've got the end of life, which links to the life cycle assessment. So what I'd say that you need to do now, once you've had a look through those slides, make sure you complete those worksheets. You can do the extension questions as well if you want to afterwards, but really prioritize the life cycle assessment of the plastic bag as well, because this is an issue that is really current and in the news at the moment. When you've done that, it should just automatically save onto the Teams assignment. If not, just make sure that it is uploaded if you've done it by hand. And that's the end of lesson 2.